All right, here we are. Welcome back to Duty's Daggers. We're doing a cut test on the Spartan Harsey folder. Pretty legendary. This is my first time checking one out. Blade steel is S45VN. And I want to put this clip in here just showing this weird edge termination here. So where a sharpening choil would normally go, there is nothing. There's just, it goes to non-sharpened edge. I've never seen that before. Factory edge seems pretty good. It's very thick behind the edge, in like the high 20,000s. I forget what exactly it was. I should have written it down. I think it was almost 30,000s. So very thick. Now that lack of a sharpening choil while you're cutting cardboard probably will actually help you, because the cardboard's not going to slide into a sharpening choil and get snagged. And that's really the only benefit I can think of. I think sharpening this knife is going to be difficult. I think that's always just going to be kind of a weird, ugly little spot right there. If I owned it, I would definitely cut in a sharpening choil. It did pretty well with the regular thickness cardboard, though, despite being very thick behind the edge. Let's try the double thickness cardboard. Going with the grain the easy way. It's definitely harder. Going against the grain, significantly harder. You can see I'm just definitely struggling more to get through it. So that's when you really start feeling the thick measurement there. But, you know, I mean, it still cut it cleanly, just, took more muscle. Cutting board, flat surface, utility cuts. It's a drop point, so you're going to have to raise your wrist up pretty high to get to the tip. And this tip is not very dropped down very much, so you're pretty high up there, as you can see. But once you're up there, it does utility cuts well. It's a big knife. It's almost a 4-inch blade, like 3 7/8 inch. Made in the USA, obviously. The anodization on the scales is really nice. Very, very nice. Let's roll up this old glove and see how it does with some leather. Wow, surprisingly pretty good. I thought the thick measurement behind the edge would kind of affect this test, but I mean, you feel it, you feel it. But wow, yeah, it did pretty good actually. Clean cuts, not a whole lot of effort, no sawing to get through it, just a nice rock back on that belly and you're through. Let's try the Sisal rope. Now this is where I really felt that thick measurement behind the edge. For some reason on the Sisal rope, man, it was kind of struggling. I was having to push down very hard. And also I was starting to feel some hot spots because I was having to push down so hard. There's some jimping all over this knife that is pretty sharp. It's like the very wide jimping. It's not the fine, grippy stuff. It's very wide. And definitely some sharp edges that were digging into my hands there. Some really thick rubber tubing here. Let's try that. Again, feels thick, but it did it. Okay, what's next? I believe it's strap time. Oh, no, it's not. I found this like cardboard angle iron type stuff. So this is a new element introduced to the test, so we can't really judge how this knife does with it compared to other knives. But I think we'll put this in all the tests from here on out, so we'll be able to see. Well, here's how a knife does with a thick grind. And not bad, you know. It cuts down to the corner and then tears. So, you know, it cuts down to the corner, and then I switch, cut down to the corner, and then it doesn't want to get through that last thick part, so it just tears. I don't know if that's because of the material this is made out of or the knife. Time will tell, though. Now on to the strap. Let's see if the Spartan Harsey will get all the way through the strap here. Definitely have enough edge with this long 4-inch blade. Actually, better than I thought it would do. Over halfway. Let's do one more. Putting my whole strength into it, and it got pretty, even a little farther. 3/4 of the way through. So, pretty impressive. You can tell there's a lot of markings on the blade, but that will clean off with water. Water and a rag. So, I gotta say, you know, functionally, having the no sharpening choil is not an issue. In fact, it may even help you in some regards. But it's ugly and it's going to be a pain to sharpen. So, back to the paper with the S45 VN. It's okay. It could go either way. You could say that we're still cutting paper. You could say that we are not. It's right on the line there. So let's give it a strop. See how well it does with the strop here. How quickly we can get the edge back. I'm hoping this strops back very nicely because the owner wants this back just as sharp as he sent it. So I'm hoping I don't have to put this on the stones. I don't think I'll have to. The stropping should do it. And I really don't want to deal with the lack of sharpening choil. I'm not even sure what you would do when you get to that area. You know, if you decide to go a little further down towards the plunge grind, you're going to be removing a lot of material. I mean, I guess you could sharpen it all the way down to the plunge grind yourself if you wanted to. It would take a while, I bet. It drops back really nice. You can see we're just as sharp as we were before. Cutting paper with no problem. So, yeah. I don't know. It performs pretty much like I would expect S45 VN to perform. I think it probably would have, if it wasn't so thick behind the edge, we'd probably still be cutting paper after the cut test. You know, geometry does have to do with that, you know. Also, I did notice after the whole testing, I hadn't closed the knife during, and the lock bar was kind of stuck in the locked position. It was almost like bound up. So I had to muscle it over and kind of clicked as it moved over. You know, just gripping the knife probably just to, you know, squeeze it over into the tang more tightly. So there you go. The Spartan Harsey. This is not a knife that is for me. This is not my style. It's not my jam. It's a little too big for an EDC knife for me. But, you know, people love them. And I get why, you know, it's very nicely built. It feels Sebenza-like, being, you know, it's not really a drop shut flicker. It's more of a slow roller. It's almost like a mix between a Hinderer and a Chris Reeve sort of thing. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed. Please like the video before you leave. That helps me out a lot, and I'll see you next time.